Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Spiritual Successor, a comedy video game design podcast where we take your horrible, nasty, cursed video game ideas from all over the internet and turn them into the next AAA titles. I am one of your hosts, AJ Hart.
And I am your other New Year's baby host, Blake Rea. Have we ever talked about that the mascot for New Year's is baby? It's kind of weird, right?
It's baby Blake specifically.
It's baby me specifically. It's like my body is a baby, but my head has stayed the same, so I have like a receding hairline and a beard. A baby with a beard is a weird thing, by the way. I don't know if you've ever seen one. It's a little bit freaky. But for a second,
I've seen Benjamin Button.
You see Benjamin
Of course,
Button.
We've all seen Benjamin Button. We know what a baby with a beard looks like.
Here's the thing, though. That I just thought of this, and I want to talk about it because it does bother me. New Year's Eve. It is a time where everybody does one of two things: sets New Year's resolutions that they're not going to keep about being healthier or like doing other, just other like, hey, this is what I want to achieve in this year. Everybody just
you're
drops
speaking
it.
for yourself right there, but that's fine.
Hey, AJ, when have you ever achieved a New Year's resolution?
I have, actually.
Really?
But usually my New Year's resolutions are things like a lot more ephemeral. That's kind of one of the goals.
Wake up the next day.
Like, for example, one New Year's resolution I had was like, I just want to post on social media more to keep family in the loop. And so every year that whole year, I was just like, I'm going to make sure that I'm posting things. In 2020, my New Year's resolution was to do more things in the city. We all know how that turned out. Damn. What are some other New Year's resolutions? Those are the two that
I get it. The low-hanging fruit of New Year's resolutions.
One of them I actually did. The other one, the panty happened.
The panty. Stop calling it that. It's so weird.
Are you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here. Can you hear me?
Blake, did you hang up on me?
AJ, I think your headset's being weird again.
Can you hear me at all?
I can hear you.
Oh, hey. What happened?
I think your headset was acting weird again. I'm going to blame you and not me because that totally wasn't me. It might have been. But no.
What about you? Do you have any New Year's resolutions that you remember failing because you're a failure, not like me?
No, because I'm not a basic B and do all the low-hanging fruit of New Year's resolutions. My New Year's resolution every year has been become a millionaire and become famous on the internet. Neither of those have yet to be achieved, but I will keep using that every New Year's holiday. No, but the point I was trying to make earlier is
what's the other thing? You say that they either make New Year's
everybody drinks. It's like it's a holiday where you just get flat out drunk and like intoxicated. Why is the mascot for that a little baby? Have you ever thought about that? It's like a holiday that most people drink on, and everybody's like, "Oh, who's the New Year's baby?" And you have people dressing up. You have people dressing up as a baby at your New Year's Eve holiday party? You've never seen that before? Yeah.
Literally never in my life.
You've never seen Yeah, they do like the diaper and then they have the band, like the sash, like those ones that go from one shoulder to the hip that says New Year's, like Happy New Year's, and they also wear like a top hat. Yeah, that's like the New Year's mascot, bro.
A top hat? Like what? They're like Baby Uncle Sam?
Baby Lincoln. New Year's, just type in like New Year's baby.
I looked up New Year's baby, and now I'm just getting a bunch of baby pics, and then a couple articles talking about Meet Central Valley's New Year's babies.
Yeah, also,
I guess it's a bunch of babies that were born on New Year's Eve.
Also,
this is nothing. Oh wait, Baby New Year. Wikipedia article.
New Year's baby mascot
of the New Year, commonly seen in editorial cartoons.
Also,
symbolizes the birth of the New Year and the passing of the prior year. The baby is death.
Baby is death? That's depressing. Let's change subjects. Baby New Year was also featured in Fairly Odd Parents, a classic cartoon of the early 2000s. Yeah, but no, didn't you know that? Isn't that just kind of weird? I mean, it makes sense.
A parody of Baby New Year, given the name Big Fat Baby, appears in the animated series Hysteria, which is a show I've never heard of in my life.
There's a lot of anime I've never heard of, man. Well, you know what?
It's not an anime, it's a cartoon.
Oh, but you said anime. Rewind the tape. Did AJ say anime?
I thought I said animation.
Oh, I think you might have just shortened it to anime.
Damn, my brain is rotted.
But talking about like New Year's resolutions, tell us your favorite, your big gamer's New Year resolution. Actually, what is your gamer New Year's resolution, AJ?
I do have a gamer New Year's resolution, and it's to write down notes about every video game that I play. That way, at the end of the year, I can look back on my thoughts on every game.
Okay, and that way, our segment of like end of year talk on Spiritual Successor will be a little bit more coherent.
That, and specifically so I can write down all of my notes on why I think that Alan Wake is an incredibly funny game that has not made me feel spooked or uncomfortable once.
Well, yeah, because it's an action
so
game.
Much fun.
It's not meant to be like a horror game. It has horror elements, but the game director Sam Lake has gone on record saying like, "Hey, it was an action game with horror elements."
That makes sense. You're giving a bunch of guns right off the gun.
Yeah,
right off the jump.
Bro, this is a game
still
about
a very
shooting.
funny game.
Oh my god, it's so funny. Like when he walks into a diner, he's like, this lady was like, "Oh, I'm your biggest fan." He's like, "I don't want to talk to you, but I'm going to think for the next 30 seconds and narrate all of your actions and interact with you."
I saw the lady at the counter, and she looked like she smelled like stale coffee, and I hated her vibes, and she sucked shit, and I hate this town. Hello, how's it going? I'm Alan Wake. Damn, how did she know who I was? Yeah, Alan Wake is a very funny individual. Motherfucker
God,
really walked into a
so
cafe
happy.
and like did an entire like 2-paragraph speech about everything in the cafe and missed the giant stand-up cutty of himself.
No, that's incorrect. You could have interacted with it. You could go up to a press A and he'll give you
He's still
another...
surprised when the person mentions it.
Keep playing the game. That stand-in actually comes back in a way that's very funny.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm so happy you're playing that. But you know what? We're not. This is not what we do on this podcast.
Wait, what's your gamer resolution? I told you mine.
My gamer resolution, I actually want to play more physical games this year. More board games.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant like basketball.
No, I don't got no time for that. I don't
basketball.
I don't got the heart for that, man. I got gamer heart. You know, it's chronic.
Cringe.
No, I've been there's this local game store near me called oh my god, why am I blanking on it? It's called Geeky Teas, and it's this really, really cool board game store near me that also has a bunch of like British food and teas that you can buy that are all geeky themed, as in, you know, the name Geeky Teas. And
what is British food? Because I can only imagine fish and chips.
Well, man, this boy's never listened to Yogscast. Have you ever heard of Jaffa Cakes, AJ?
No.
You're missing out. Jaffa Cakes. They're like it's just like little cookies and mint balls, and Jaffa Cakes are like these cookies covered in chocolate with little bits of orange. And you know how I feel about orange. I like that little bit of allergic.
Yeah, it kills you, and you're allergic, and it's bad for your bones, and you eat it anyway because you're a fucking maniac.
But I just want to play more physical board games. I realized this last year, and I think due to the pandemic, I have been like so focused on jumping from my phone to my computer to my game console. I'm just staring at monitors like all the time. And, you know, that's not necessarily inherently bad because we do live in a digital age where a lot of our shit is on monitors. But I noticed that I think that's affected my patience on things. And I think it would be fun to start playing more board games that require me to sit still for longer and be more patient with what I'm working on. And a couple of the games I'm playing right now are Arkham Horror, the card game, the living card game, which is so fucking cool. And I'm also doing a bunch of those solo tabletop RPG adventures for Call of Cthulhu.
And that sounds cool.
Yeah, it's been very fun. It's been very meditative. And I just want to keep doing that. Because I think, I got anxiety, like I think many people do. And I think just working with pen and paper and doing that, I think is going to be really healthy for me. But we're not here to talk about healthy things. We're not here to talk about
we're here
things
to
that bring
talk
us joy.
about explicitly unhealthy things.
We're here to
video games, bad video game ideas.
All right, AJ, give me your first submission.
That's me.
Actually, you started us off for this podcast episode. The first
you can do
podcast
the
of
first
year.
submission of the year.
I'm going to do the first submission of the year. And within theme of this being the first episode of the year, this comes from Alley Cat at Millennium Hoo Ha, a game where your only New Year's resolution is to stop as many people as possible from achieving their New Year's resolution.
I saw this as well. I'm so desperate to see what video game style immediately jumped into your brain.
First off, I just want to mention that this gave me the reason I picked it is because it reminded me of that meme of like, of that kink
shaming is my kink.
Kink shaming is my kink. And I just think that's so fucking funny and it's so on brand. So I honestly didn't think of a genre when I picked this one. But I've
got the genre already in my brain.
Is it an open world game? Because you got to go and see people in their schedules trying to
open world might be a good way to do it. So I was imagining something like old dating sims, specifically like you remember those old flash dating sims where like you had a time limit of the day and you could choose what day you were given a day.
That's
and
not
you could choose
like
whether
old?
This day was going to be spent on like making yourself buffer, making yourself handsomer, or making yourself smarter.
Oh, bro, that still happens. Like Danganronpa does that. Persona 5 did that.
Danganronpa does not do that. First of all,
no,
you choose who you're going to go spend time with.
But you have a limited amount of time.
Okay, yeah, it does have the limited time thing, but like you spend your time working on specific stats is kind of my thought on it. Like,
okay, Persona does that.
Depending on the stats that you have, you can then go out and interact with your friends and your homies and whatnot. And your stats will depend on how they feel about you.
So you can only build trust with people to ruin their New Year's resolutions if you have stats that equal them. Is that kind of what?
Correct. I'm proposing an anti-dating sim where it is like a dating sim where you need to make sure your stats are good enough to impress people, but then you get into their personal bubble and you're like, I know that Jeremy's New Year's goal is to play more basketball. I'm gonna get this motherfucker out there playing soccer. Worse, I'm going to do everything in my power to make sure that Jeremy snuggles up with me on the couch and we just watch movies all day.
Can I pitch you on something really weird?
Yeah.
Just to roll with me on this one. So, you and I were talking about the New Year's baby, and that's a funny little concept in itself. Do you think the New Year's baby has a anti-New Year's baby? Like Santa has Krampus.
The New Year's old man.
The New Year's old man. And I'm wondering if we play as this Krampus-style character that is going around and is the reason people don't achieve their New Year's resolutions. And then maybe after he achieves it, he wipes their memory or whatever. And that's why nobody can like remember this old man, the New Year's old man, or something like that.
You want to play a tool of the universe that goes around making people's life hell because he's such a buff and handsome old man that he makes all the basketball players want to hang out with him? I just want to make sure I understand the lore that you're creating.
Yeah, he feels just out of place. I mean, but he's a magical character, so like it's no shock to me that he does
seem like he's out of place until he fucking dunks it. Maybe that's it. Maybe somebody's New Year's resolution is to be better at basketball, so he just shows up and he just dunks on him 24/7 every day, hard in the paint. So I think we have our character. We are New Year's old man trying to go around and having to stop
ruin
people's
other
New Year's resolutions.
Mm-hmm. So, but
people say that they want to work on making sure that their houses are tidier. New Year's old man shows up and he messes up their whole house.
Mm-hmm.
Or a lot of people say that they want to work out more. I don't know how New Year's old man would stop that, other than perhaps just being a lazy old man that needs help.
I think this is where the hard part comes in. So I mentioned open world at the beginning of this, and I think we can still do that. What if we took this we play this character in an open world, and it's kind of like a what's that one game where you need to know everybody's schedules because the whole game operates off of like is it Fatal Frame or
I think that's
it's a
how
Japanese,
Deadly Premonition
Deadly
works.
Premonition.
Is my understanding of Deadly Premonition.
So what if we did something like that? Everybody in this town has their own schedule that they're trying to keep, and your goal is to try and study everybody's schedule. It's like, okay, Susie wants to work out at 4 p.m. every day. You need to make sure you're at the gym and sabotaging equipment to where she can't work out. Or you're there working out with her, building up that trust, and then your goal is to like, okay, I'm gonna start it's being like, hey, instead of working out, why don't we go just like laze about and go do something else? So you're just trying to find everybody's schedules and then wiggle your way into all of those schedules to then throw them off. Is that the game? Okay.
Yeah, I think so. I think the one other way we can kind of gamify it and make it a little bit more beatable is if every character that we've actually give a shit about in this video game has a certain benchmark New Year's resolution. For example, somebody wants to run a 10K. Somebody wants to sell their car or buy a car. Somebody wants to score 100 basketball hoops. A lot of active wear. A lot of activities in this game.
I feel like that's most people's New Year's resolution. It's always like towards being physically healthier or mentally healthier. So
yeah, we should start making New Year's resolutions about being lazier, I think.
About being lazy. Okay, what would just like eat more chips or eat more just sit and play more
I'm
Alan
a being
Wake?
that hates sleep, so perhaps my lazy New Year's resolution would be to like give naps a shot.
Give naps a shot. No, you can do that weird thing that the inventor did where he slept like with his hands dangled above a chair and he would drop a ball onto a plate. So like the moment he went to deep sleep, he would just wake himself up. He would like let go of the ball and wake himself up. Yeah, no,
He's
dude, that was
living
not
the dream,
healthy.
but also they didn't exist. I think he lived before there was like the 40-hour work week, so he had a lot of free time on his hands.
No, bro, this was prior
Who was
to
it? No, who was the inventor?
Hold on. Okay. You and I have talked about this before, and I don't want to look it up, but I remember it being
I'm looking it up. Thomas Edison. When was Thomas Edison alive?
Like late 1800s, 1900s. So this was like during the Industrial Revolution before they had unions. So no, they worked more than 40 hours a week.
I'm sorry, what year did you suggest that Thomas Edison was around?
Late 1800s to early 1900s is when he was doing the bulk of his shit.
Yeah, so again, before 40-hour work weeks.
Yeah, this is also a time when children would work like 60 hours a week, man. Like this is not a good time.
Had so much time on his hands.
No, he didn't. He didn't have any time on his hands. He was busy like fucking beating the shit out of Tesla and sending goons to movie studios and destroying their shit. He was a bad man. He was a bad man.
I imagine if you're the kind of person that is sicking goons on another scientist, you're already to a point where like you can pay for goons, which means you have money, which means that you have enough money to pay for other people, so you probably have time.
Okay, I mean, clearly not if he was doing this weird don't sleep schedule.
Oh, that's a good point.
All right, you give me a game. Let's put a pin in this. You pitch me on something.
This comes from Blue Bowser Stan account at Koopa Kirby, a game all about when you're at a friend or relative's place for the first time, and you want a glass of water, and you have to go into the cupboard to find a cup. Gamify the cup selecting experience for an unfamiliar cupboard.
Is this immediately the thing that sticks out to me is when I've ever visited a friend and the moment of scare is like if I'm going and I don't know what cabinet it's in and I open a cabinet and I make a loud noise by opening that cabinet. And is this
that's fascinating that your first response is fear. My first excitement about this idea is excitement.
Really?
But this is because I'll admit I'm a sicko. There is something so exciting to me about like that moment when you're like in somebody's home and like you're kind of new and they're like, okay, I'm going to leave you here now. be good, and then they go to bed, and you're left on the living room couch, and you think to yourself, I need a cup of water. And now what you have is you have the excuse to dig around through their shit and find whatever you can find. What you have been given, what you now have in your back pocket is a free excuse if you are caught snooping around.
Whoa.
Now, I mean, of course I'm not going to do anything nefarious, but I could, and I'm going to, and like, I'm going to go in that kitchen, I'm going to open every cupboard, I'm going to find out how much cereal you guys eat. I'm gonna find out how much cereal you don't eat. More embarrassingly, if I find any linty or like moldy bread in the cupboards, I'm going to keep that information to myself forever.
So how does that translate?
I'm going to cross-examine. I'm going to be fucking Phoenix right up in here. I'm going to find out everything imaginable about you by digging through your kitchen trying to find the cup.
So
now,
how
this is the honor system.
Translate?
Once I find a cup, I'm going to just take the one cup I need and fill it with water. But I love me some rummaging through other people's shit.
So how does that translate into a game, though?
How does it translate to a game?
Are you trying to is this like a collecting dirt game, or is this like in a sort of simulator game where you're just understanding the narrative of this household based off of what's in their kitchen? But at the end of the day, that also doesn't feel like it has any stank. You know what I mean?
Could we do a game like Unpacking, but specifically like hunting through somebody's kitchen for a cup? Do you know what Unpacking is?
Unpacking, I know the basic concept of it, but I've never seen any gameplay or played it myself. We should play that, actually. It's a multiplayer game, isn't it?
I have no idea. I assumed it was single player. People were just kind of playing it together. So Unpacking is a video game that came out last year. That is about you. The whole gameplay system is just that you have a bunch of boxes with things in it, and you are playing as a character that is unpacking all of your stuff and putting it into the places that it's going to reside in your new place of residence.
Mm-hmm.
And the first level is like a child's room, and the second level is like a teenager's room, and then it's this. Whoever you are playing as, it is their first time living with a partner, and then it is their first time living in a dorm. And so on and so forth. You kind of like go through this person's life. And you can see the items that are familiar and the items that aren't familiar. And as you go through, I guess like there's like a video game console and a stuffed animal that stick with you almost through the entirety of the game.
Whoa, that's cute. Okay, I dig that. Oh my gosh. Okay, so are you saying this is like a game, but this is more difficult because we're visiting somebody else's space.
Yeah, so, we are playing as a character who is constantly in new spaces. I guess the only thing you can really find out about the player character is like what sort of things they're finding.
Well, could it be just because I just want to
find out a lot about the kind of people that our character is hanging out with, right? Like if they're people that eat a lot of cereal, then you know that they're probably people that go to school or work.
I just don't think there's any drama in that. Let me just throw you a curveball. Is there a way that we can? I want to lean into the shock of like, okay, I'm in an unfamiliar place and I open a cabinet and I don't know what's in it. And normally, so it's like that can be an inherently scary experience.
What do you mean
like,
shock, bro? What are you scared of?
Balls?
Watch out!
Oh no, they got special K. No, like the fear.
Oh no, the snake cupboard filled with snakes. What are you afraid of?
Exactly, AJ. This is a game about a kid who is at their friends for a sleepover, and the fear of being like of a kid and not understanding the space you're in is turned up to fucking 11. There, you made a joke about it. It's like you open up a cabinet and like, what are you afraid is going to be in there? Oh, it's fucking snakes. This is about a kid whose imagination is running wild, and you are trying to figure out what cabinet is the safe cabinet to open, because 9 out of the 10 cabinets are gonna have wacky, crazy shit in there. You open one, it's gonna be like a Junji Ito eyeball or some shit.
Did you ever have that happen to you as a kid, where like you were in it, like
where
you
I saw
would walk
Junji
around a
Ito
space
eyeball?
And like you were afraid of things that you were imagining?
Oh yeah, all the time, dude. Like I have a huge, even today as an adult, I get, because I'd mentioned at the top of the episode, but I do have anxiety, and the idea of being in an unfamiliar space and feeling like I'm I'm going to do something that's going to result in me fucking like with something up. Like I open a cabinet and like, oh man, a glass fell out. Now I got to deal with that. Or it's like, oh, I opened up this fridge and that made a fuck ton of noise because there's glass bottles in the door or something. And then, I'm going to wake somebody up like that. I think that's like a very real fear of mine. And that was like especially worse as a kid. Like, did you have a similar situation? It sounds like you were going to go into that.
When I was a kid, I remember in my first house living there, I had one night that I had like really bad nightmares, and I was imagining that down the hallway there was a Gyarados that wanted to eat me, and so I ran into my parents' room, and I started laying down in my parents' room, and then I started to imagine a very angry, very large Batman on the roof looking down on me being mean. And that scared me, so I slept on my face that night. And I usually don't sleep on my face.
Were you playing like Batman Arkham Asylum at that point?
Brother, I have no idea why like those two images were haunting me that night. But I just have a distinct memory of Gyarados and Batman being nightmare beings while I was walking around the house. Like I remembered I was like, I can't go down that hallway. Gyarados is down there. He's gonna gobble me up, and that's horrifying to think about.
So
I'm gonna go to my parents' room.
Let me pitch you on something then. If in the vein, because I want to lean into that, and you brought up an interesting idea of the moving game, or what was it called again? Unpacking. Thank you. What if this is you are childhood friends with this other person, and it's you and your friend, and this is like a game that follows your life with that friend of visiting their house over the years of your friendship. So like the first level is like you guys are like 4 or 5 years old. Whenever I think it's like around 6 years old that sleepovers start happening. I think that's when it happened for me. So it's like the first level is you're 6 years old and you go over to their house and you have to go find this glass. And it's a pretty normal level. You're just trying to like make sure you don't like, break anything or, wake anybody up. But there's just this air of creepiness about it. And you get the glass, you go back to bed, success. The next level, things start to get a little bit weirder. Like maybe it's been a year, or maybe you're still 6 or something, and you go in and it's like, okay, some of the cabinets aren't opening, or some of the cabinets open by themselves. So it's like, and then as the game goes on, it's like, okay, you find out maybe there's this ghost or this presence that is following your friend. And it's just like, you have to like go into this space that this person maybe doesn't even know that there's a ghost there. But it's like, I'm just trying to think of something. It's like you're going into a space that you don't understand, and something is fucking with you as you're trying to find this glass over the period of years or something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I guess my curiosity is how big the levels would be then, because I was imagining just like kind of small little like 15-minute sections of game where you're like, oh, I'm just going to dig through all the cupboards and find me a cup. And then maybe on the next level, it's a little bit longer, but you're digging through the rest of the house to find a blanket. And then maybe one day you have to dig through the whole house to find your cell phone. Because if we're going to be if we're going to be doing this at different parts in our life, then we can kind of pick different items that we're trying to find.
No, I like
that might be important to us.
I like that a lot, because it's like, that means if you do it that way, it means that this person that you're visiting, it will be in a house that it's like their family house. So like, say many levels down the way, you're visiting this person's house and they're living there with their partner, and like maybe they have their own kids or something like that. And it's just like, that means you get to access different parts of the house. It's like, oh, you're over for a party. Hey, can you go grab the bottle of wine from our cellar? And you have to like do the cellar level and search around.
I like the idea that we're specifically still moving around at a time that the homeowner doesn't know we're moving around. Because I think that feeds into the mystery. And that also feeds a little bit more into the horror that you were mentioning about like being worried about making a bunch of noise.
So so maybe this is kind of an Among the Sleep style game where it's like you are a toddler through the whole game, and it's just like the outlandish fear, but very real and tangible fear that kids feel. You know what I mean? Okay, this is interesting, but I don't know if it has any stank on it. You want me to put you on another game? Okay.
Yeah, hit me with something with some stank.
All right, this one comes to us on Twitter from Drew Davenport at the Davenporter, Kane Sword Tycoon. AJ, I want to. There is nothing cooler than somebody walking down the street with a cane that is also a weapon. And I'm trying to figure out, are we the person that is collecting these swords, or are we the person that is selling these swords? And
we need to stop. We need to go a little bit earlier because you proposed that it's the coolest thing ever when I propose that it's the creepiest thing ever.
Two sides of the same coin, man. Like,
because here's the thing: in fictional media, I can think of exclusively one character that used a cane sword, and he was a weirdo pervert. This character is, of course, the creepy man from the Charlie's Angels movies.
Are you talking?
That only smells and screams.
The only smell.
I wish I was joking. He has scenes where he like yanks some of the girl's hair out, and then he smells the hair, and then he yells. It's really weird. He's a complete creepo.
What a weird. Okay, well, the other one I was thinking of.
People that I know that use cane swords are people from my hometown that wanted to take a sword into public, but couldn't because swords weren't allowed. And so they had a cane sword that their grandpa gave them. And they were like, oh, yeah, if I have this, then if anyone tries to attack me, I can hurt them with a sword. And it's like, hey, Tony, you are 16. Nobody gives a fuck about you.
Okay, so why don't we lean into that? This is a game about...
I'm sorry. You know the cane swords? I'm so sorry to do this. Cane swords are like the thing that are like the lamest thing that people think are cool.
No, I think there are
Name something
things
that people think is cool that is lamer than a cane sword.
Ninja stars.
No, ninja stars are cool because Naruto uses them. Next question.
I bet you there's a Naruto character that uses a cane sword. I haven't watched Naruto, but I feel like that's Naruto-esque. No, like ninja stars are fucking stupid because it's like, they're cool in theory. Don't get me wrong. Like, they're cool in theory. But name a time anybody looked cool being like pulling a ninja star out of their fucking pocket.
Naruto.
No, he's a fictional character, AJ. I'm talking about real people. If we're talking about fictional people, I'm sure there's plenty of cane. Also, fucking
somebody hasn't seen Ninja Assassin. That's
also
okay.
Somebody hasn't seen Blade. His sword is basically a cane sword because there's no hilt on.
Cane sword?
He wears it on its back, so on his back, but it's like there's
he wears it like a sword. Then that's not a fucking cane sword.
Yeah, but okay, I guess I don't know where I was going with that. But
hey, bud, that's just a sword.
No, but it looks like a cane sword though because there's no clear distinction of where the handle and the sheath is. It all looks just like a stick, like a cane, and then because it doesn't have.
That's not what makes it a cane sword, and you know it.
Yeah, okay, you're right. I was stretching, but fuck it, whatever.
Quite the reach too.
Quite the reach. No, I think ninja stars are stupider because it's like somebody's got to pull it out of their fucking jeans and be like, "Oh, look at this ninja star guy. I could throw it if I wanted."
These? You mean my ninja jeans?
You mean my ninja jeans?
Sorry, the idea of somebody pulling ninja stars out of their jean pocket is very funny. No, you're right. But here's what I would propose about ninja stars. I think that people don't think of ninja stars in a serious thing. I think that people get ninja stars and then they throw them at target boards and they're like, yeah. But I don't think anybody thinks about ninja stars in like I could definitely use this as a form of self-defense or even offense.
Oh,
but people that use cane swords think that they're Billy Badass.
Do you think cane swords are in the same realm as like wearing trench coats in public, but you're like obviously not Joe Constantine who can make trench coats work?
Yes, but I think trench coats are okay because they're a fashion thing, and some people can rock one. Some people are actually just characters from the Matrix.
Most people can't rock trench coats, my guy. I've seen them. They just don't work. There's too much fabric, not happening. So what I'm pitching here is going back to the video game. Is this a game about trying to sell enough cane swords? Oh my God! Wait a second. I have
this is a game about trying to rebrand cane swords and make them cool.
Yes, but it's in the format of like a snake oil salesman. So you are, no. Like you walk around. You're like a kid on the fucking playground or something, or maybe you're just some weirdo going from town to town that has their own, like their snake oil cart that just has a bunch of fucking ninja
illegal?
weapons.
Sorry, I need to look this
most
up
cane
too,
most cane swords
I was remembering
are very
that, like,
illegal.
part of the thing about bragging about a cane sword is that you brag about how cool it is that it's illegal.
Yes. I mean, there's some illegal things out there that are cool to brag about, like fireworks. It's like, oh, look at this big firework I got. It's super illegal.
And butterfly knives.
And butterfly knives are also stupid. I don't care. I think anybody the way you feel about cane swords is how I feel about butterfly knives, because everybody there is no fucking ninja weapon out there that people like would go out of their way to bring into a conversation more.
Wait, are butterfly knives a ninja weapon? I thought they were just something that like dudes named Tyler used to impress other dudes named Tyler.
Tyler. Yeah, it does feel like a weapon Kyle would use, you know, like a Kyle. Or
I say this
Taylor.
as somebody that was impressed when my cousin pulled out a butterfly knife and would do cool butterfly knife tricks. Like, it is cool to watch. But again, I don't think it's a serious thing.
You're right. It's not a ninja weapon, but it is like it. I guess I got into that mindset because anybody who's selling like samurai swords and kunai are also selling butterfly knives.
Yeah.
Like you go downtown to like just the street vendors that just have like a bunch of illegal weapons for like who fucking cares why. So are you a snake oil salesman that is trying to go around and selling these here's the gameplay. What is one of the big things about like you buy a ninja weapon from like a little shop? Yeah, what's up?
I'm so sorry to stop you before we keep moving forward. I need to know, you did start this bit talking about how cool cane swords are. I'm desperate to know what iconography character, what icon is the cane sword icon?
Okay, so it's not a
because
cane
again,
sword.
You seem to be pretty high and mighty on cane swords, and you're like, they're cool, and that's what again started all of this. So when I say cane sword, and you're like, fuck yeah, are you envisioning in your brain? Or are you a Tony that thought that you could bring justice to people with a cane sword?
One, I think if I remember correctly, doesn't God, I just think cane swords are cool, and I can't name anybody that has a cane sword. I just think they're fucking cool.
I can't name anybody that looked cool with the cane sword. But
I mean, okay, hold on. Aren't there? Okay, so hold on. Let me think. Doesn't Ganon use a cane sword at some point? Also, doesn't Brook from One Piece have a cane sword?
Okay, wait. I'm sorry. Ganon, Legend of Zelda?
Yeah, I think he has a cane sword, right?
No.
Does Ganon... Hold on. Ganon, cane sword.
Absolutely not.
Okay, I don't know what the fuck I'm thinking about then. All right, fuck it, whatever. No,
I will give you Brook One Piece, though. You're right. You know what? You did get Brook One Piece.
All right, cool. And he's the coolest One Piece character. I haven't seen One Piece, but I've decided it. No, it's not a cane sword, but this is going to be a poll. But the thing that made me fall in love with the concept of just canes as weapons, or just canes in general, is do you remember Alvin and the Chipmunks, the werewolf? Like where what's his face becomes a werewolf.
Alvin and the Chipmunks meet werewolf. Of course
yes.
I knew. Or meet the Wolfman. Of course I remember Alvin and the Chipmunks meet the Wolfman.
Do you remember the cane that guy uses? And it's just like this silver knob that is just a screaming wolf.
Yeah, it's the silver cane that came with a dog on it that makes you know that he's a werewolf.
It's so fucking cool, right?
It is really cool.
It's awesome. Like, that's cool as shit. But I guess that means it's more of like a blunt weapon than a fucking cane sword. But here's the game. Here's the game, because we've been spending 10 minutes talking about how cool or not cool cane swords are. One of the things
I forgot what werewolf Theodore looked like.
Yeah, he's adorable. He's just a little dude. He just has like big pointy ears and like and mad hair, and like that girl's crushing on him, and he's just like, I'm too cool because I'm a werewolf.
And the blastback so and the mutton chops?
Yeah,
damn,
it's
Werewolf
a good look,
Theodore
dude.
really was the blueprint.
Just fucking glow up, dude. All right. One of the things because I have bought ninja weapons before. I have bought I went down to just the downtown area where there's like a bunch of like hidden away weapon stores, and I have bought stuff before. One of the big things about them is that they are cheap. They fall apart after using them in any capacity, especially butterfly knives, because those screws always come loose really fast. So this is a game about being a snake oil salesman that is trying to sell all of their wares before the wares that you have sold start breaking for the people that have used them. So
a tycoon with a timer.
Yes. So but it's also like I'm trying to figure out is the strategy of this game that okay, so it's like this weapon tends to break within the first week.
Every time you make a sale, there's a separate feature called like resentment. And every time you make a sale, every point of sale has a timer before it could cause resentment. And depending on how you've spec'd out your line of sword canes, the resentment can either grow really high or really slow. It's just another factor to think about in the math. Of course, if your resentment is high, then you're going to have a hard time selling things. But if your resentment is high, you also have a chance. The factors that make resentment go up also are factors that increase resales, right?
Can I pitch you on something? Because you're bringing up something, but I feel like this game needs like an end goal. And I want to take this from a really unlikely place. What if this is the Oregon Trail of sword cane selling? So you start off on the West Coast, and your goal is to sell your way all the way to the East Coast, like to get to New York. So you start off the game with a deficit. Like at the beginning of Oregon Trail, you have like $2,000, depending on what role you have. This one, you start off the game with negative $2,000, but you have a shit ton of ninja weapons. So you need to go from town to town trying to sell your wares. And you then have to, then you buy your ticket or whatever that allows you access to the next town. But there's the possibility of like random things going on. It's like kids stole your wares, you lose $200 or this or that. And there's a possibility that you just get stuck in bumfuck nowhere on the way to your trip and you have to start the whole game over. So I'm wondering if that's...
Yes, I love that. It's a traveling salesman simulator. All the wonders of a Zoo Tycoon. All the wonders of beginning early Zoo Tycoon levels, but with a fail state that gets more and more approachable.
Yes, and there's just this thing of like, and maybe we go kind of... Maybe we also lean into like the businessy simulator of it, of like, okay, maybe you can start hiring people. Like, depending on how much money you arrive in.
No, you can't start hiring people. You have to just keep on doing it on your own.
Mm-hmm. So I'm wondering
who could you trust to bring into the fold? You know what I mean? There's nobody. It is you alone against the world with all of your cool cane swords. And trust me, dude, they're super cool.
Wait, I can pitch you on what the narrative of this game is. So like, the new Blade movie came out, and they finally leaned into the idea of cane swords.
They finally gave Blade a cane sword,
and started.
The people have been asking for it for years. Some people thought it was so natural he already had one, but they've done it.
So
sword blade.
It started this whole trend in Los Angeles where everybody just wants a cane sword. It started this fad where everybody starts just walking around with a cane sword, and it created this gold rush for like ninja weapon salesmen around the country. And the cane rush. The character starts off in New York and is like, I need to get in on this ninja weapon selling game that's going on the West Coast. I need to stake my claim on this cane sword gold, man. And so he has to travel west, just like Oregon Trail.
Lots and lots of cane swords along the way. Every level once you start making enough money, every level you can decide to go ahead and pull the ripcord and buy your next ticket out of there.
Yes.
But of course, you as a player probably want to make sure that you sell it fast enough. Mm-hmm. Or you as a player want to make sure that you save enough money that you're not going to run into a problem, but you also want to make sure that you buy a ticket as soon as possible. Yes. And I think the reason for that is there's a timer. There's a in-game timer, and if you aren't able to get to the West Coast within a certain amount of hours, real game hours, then you will miss out on the Sword Cane convention.
That's it. That's right. So it's like
there's a constant push and pull. And that is what is constantly making our players say, like, okay, I have enough. I need to get to the next level because I'm running out of time.
Also, the other thing that you'll have to do is like you'll have to buy your ticket to the convention, or you'll have to buy your what's it called, your floor ticket that allows you to sell at the convention. So it's like after buying all of your Greyhound bus tickets or whatever to get from town to town, you still need to have like the $2,000 to buy yourself a space at the convention, or this is all for naught. Or it's like you basically you can't.
Yeah, because when you get there, you need to buy a table, you need to buy a stand, you need to buy decorations.
And I'm wondering if like maybe where the replayability comes in is like depending on how much money you arrive in Los Angeles with dictates how big of a booth you can buy. But then if the bigger your booth, guess what? You need more stock, you need more weapons to sell. And then like the final push of this game is like you manning the booth that you bought and trying to sell as much as you can on the final day of the convention. And that dictates your final score. And then it's like, oh man, I got this much money, or I made this much profit, or I lost this much money. Let me try another run of this game. And then it's just like you go through and you just like have to do a whole road trip again. And I think that's super stupid and fun, and I love that actually.
I love this. I love Sword Cane Merchant. One
thing I want to pitch you on is because this game reminds me of another one. I don't know if you've ever played it, but it's very similar to Kingdom, where the whole idea of that is you start off as like this lone, king or queen, and you're building your kingdom on one island. And as soon as you get enough funds, you can start investing in building a ship that can take you to a new island. But the downside of that is the longer you stay on a specific island, the closer winter gets. And once winter hits, like most of your income disappears. So it's like, I'm wondering if like we can take something like that where it's like the longer you stay in a town, the less people there are to sell to, because they know that you're cheating them. Like
you've raised the resentment up too high, and now they know that these weapons suck shit.
Yes, and you can't sell anything or anything like or
and
whatever.
So you gotta you just gotta hop out of town with whatever you can manage to scrape up.
So is there some strategy though where it's like say you have two cane swords. One cane sword is really well built, and you can charge a really good amount of money for it. But then you have the same exact cane sword, but it's really cheaply built. So is there this strategy of like, okay, I know I need to stay in this town for X amount of time. I can only sell really good shit right now. Or it's like you find yourself in a bind. It's like, oh, I have this really cheap sword that I'm going to sell as if it was a really good sword. But I know if once they find out it's fake, the resentment is going to be like go up almost to complete.
And these are the moment-to-moment decisions that players will have to make constantly in Sword Cane Simulator.
Mm-hmm. Dude, I like this game a lot. I think this is our nug. Like, I think there's a lot of weird legs on it, and I'm happy about it.
How confident are you that it's our nug?
I'm confident because we're reaching the 50-minute mark, and we got to pick.
Are you
a
confident
modifier
enough to do? Yeah, I was about to say, are you confident enough to do a modifier for it?
I think you know what. I think a modifier would be good for this. The modifier is mini games, and I'm wondering. Okay, it's just to add because Oregon Trail does have mini games. It has the hunting mini game, and I think. Actually, I think that's the only minigame it has. What am I fucking talking about? So it makes sense that there is something, like whatever modifier we pick here is an alternative way for our person to make money. That way, it's like if you run out of product, you still have some minigame you can play that allows you to scrape up a little bit of money to either buy your ticket to the next town or scrape up a little bit of money to buy some cheap ninja weapons for yourself that you can then sell to people.
Something that is a difficult enough game, but you would get like cents. You would get so little out of it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Might I propose to you this submission from Gazer? a claw game with horrible ragdoll and Jello physics.
I saw this. What if the claw game is just gachapon shit, and you're just trying to sell these?
It's a claw machine to get little ninja guys,
little ninja dudes. Oh my god, that'd be so much fun because
you know what I'm talking about, right? Those little ninja guys that you can get out of the gachapon machines.
Wait, you're onto something here. You're onto something here. Okay, do you have an idea before I take this over, or do you just want?
No, I just love the idea that one of the mini games you can do is this. You can play this mini game where you pull from you get a crane machine. You can control it left, right, forward, and back, and you're just trying to grab little guys out of a claw machine. Okay. It's just the little guys at the little gachapon.
Let me pitch you on something. Because I have a way that we can really make this fucking work. So every town you visit has this claw machine, and we call it Ninja A Go-Go or something like that, where you have a claw machine that there's a bunch of little dudes at the bottom of the machine, and they're all the ninjas are different themed. You have the shuriken ninja, you have the samurai ninja, not the samurai ninja. You have the samurai sword ninja. You have the smoke bomb ninja, whatever.
You have a gun ninja. You have a fork ninja, a spoon ninja. Yeah,
there are 20 or so different ninjas that you can collect over the course of your road trip. But these ninjas are highly collectible. So it's hey, if you get the gun ninja, you can easily just sell that on eBay and get $200. That way you
don't have eBay, you can only sell it in the town you're in
your shop or whatever. And maybe the strategy of it is maybe you find out through selling your wares that this little Ninja A Go-Go toy is prized by this town more than any other. So then you can go to the claw machine and sell it for a couple of bucks. But here's the stank, though. You're going to a convention full of nerds and geeks and collectathon people. If you manage to collect all 20 of these Ninja A Go-Go dolls, you can sell those easily for $20,000 at the convention.
Oh, and you can get a bunch of big good.
You can get a bunch of money or a bunch of points that contribute to your final score. So there's this balance of okay, I know the kunai ninja is super common. It's in every claw machine I go to. I know I can just collect those and sell them for some easy cash, and I'll still have some one extra to sell it in the final collection at the convention. And so it's this balance of
it's the constant push and pull of, do I sell this now because I need the dosh? Yeah. But I may not be able to get it again before I get to the end of the game.
Yes. And then even if you don't collect all 20, you can still sell say you collected 15 out of the 20, you can still sell that collection at the end of the game for bonus $15,000 or points.
Yeah, I like that. Do you have another minigame you want to drop in here, or are we good?
I think that's good. I think if we added too many minigames, I think it could get really complicated. So thank you to everybody that did submit on our Patreon modifiers. If you want to get in and submit we have a new modifier coming next week. If you want to get in on that, come check us out on Patreon. It's only $2 a month. You're on our Discord, and we also do game nights. Other than that, I think we're ready to go to patch notes.
We're ready to go to patch notes. Now that you finished a little brief patch note teaser, let's go to patch notes.
Yeah, you're right, huh? All right, so as I said, before patch notes, check out our Patreon, all that bullshit. Other than that, we hope you guys had some good holidays and a happy new year. If you want to keep up on our news and all of our other goodies, come check us out on Twitter at SpiritualSuck.
And with that, I think I'm good to. I'm happy enough to close the show. Actually,
AJ, you got something to pitch too. What's that other thing we're working on? What's the other shit we got going on?
The other shit. Oh, are you talking about that?
Yeah, I'm talking about
I'm fine talking about that here if you want to.
Dude,
but my thought was that we would leave that for the Twitter because, again, that's where people go to for news.
Oh, leave that for the Twitter. Oh, okay. All right. You know what?
But
fuck
no,
it.
You're
Whatever.
right. We have them here, and they can't skip forward to end the podcast early. They have to listen. Because what if we have some real banger jokes here at the end? You know what? I'm gonna tell them about that. I'm gonna tell them about that.
Do it.
So let's imagine you're listening to Blake and AJ right now, and you're like, I love these two dudes' voices. I wish I could hear more of it. I got great news for you. If you go to a little place called Spiritual Successor Podcast on YouTube.com, you're going to find so many fucking hours of Blake and me talking more. More talking, more interaction, more jokes. I'm not going to spoil it too much, but we do different jokes over there. They might seem the same sometimes because they're also going to be pee-pee jokes, but sometimes they're different.
All right, check us out on YouTube for some fun gags and
we do Let's Plays. I'll spoil it. We do Let's Plays over there. You can go
AJ,
check it out.
Now there's no mystery. Now they're not going to.
I'm sorry. I just got so excited about it. You know what I mean? Like, they're fun.
All right. With that, we'll see you guys next week.
As always, our intro and outro is Cheap Shot by Anamanaguchi, an excellent song from an excellent band for an excellent game. I've been one of your hosts, AJ Hart.
And I have been your other host, Blake Rhea.
This has been Spiritual Successor, and these are cool games
that should not be made.